Hello guys, just going to do a quick audio test before we get started. Hello guys, welcome to the stream. We're here in London Stansted for a flight down to Liege in Belgium. Quite a short flight really, only about 55 minutes. I was thinking of going from Copenhagen down to Stansted, but I did say in last week's stream that wouldn't be certain because I wasn't able to book it on Fly UK's website, and it said that the flight wasn't available. And weirdly, normally they say when they do route changes, but the cargo routes have all changed. They've shifted a little bit back to how they used to run, rather than going from airport to airport, from departing from Stansted, flying to an airport, going back to Stansted. So, and along with that, there's a couple of new routes as well. So one of those is the route down to Liege. Another one, there's a little bit of a base out in the East Midlands now, heading down to Reykjavik, Oslo, Amsterdam and Cologne. So there's a couple of new little routes to try out. And whatever, I think we'll definitely fly into Oslo at some point, but today, just thought it would be perfect for a little shorter flight. Now, I am actually having issues a little bit. I'm guessing it's because of the weather, I don't know, but it's quite foggy here in Stansted, and weirdly, my camera is doing this weird kind of movement, which is not supposed to happen. You can see the camera's like shaking slightly. It's not a lot, just a tiny bit. So I don't know what's going on. Okay, apparently it's because of the physics and the weather. It was a bug that was reported a couple of years ago. It's to do with how the physics in X-Plane work. So we'll just battle through that. Again, hopefully once we get off the ground, I don't think it'll happen anymore. So we'll just ignore that. You can see the very slight shaking. Anyway, let's go ahead and get the aircraft powered on, so standby power can go to auto and the battery can come on. And we'll get the external power on and the bus ties over to auto. That'll fire everything up then inside the plane. And before we do anything, we're going to make sure everything's loaded on board because we've got a lot of cargo today actually. We're pretty much totally full today. So we're looking at a takeoff, no, zero fuel weight today of 89.7, so we are very full. 89.7 is really full, so you can see we're maxed out on pallets and pretty much maxed out on cargo as well. Pretty crazy. In fact, yeah, we are basically full. So you can see there, oh, that's a little bit too heavy actually. So we're going to go about 9,500. 89.7. Oh, so we need a bit more. Okay, one more. There, 89.7. So that's our zero fuel weight, and there you can see we're very, very heavy today. Almost all of the cargo slots filled down in the bulk cargo, and every single pallet filled. And fuel, we're looking for 8,300. So actually, it's 8,244 if you have to be exact. We'll just do some maintenance quickly, and I'm going to check which FMC is installed in this plane. Make sure it's the original one, and that's good because the PIP FMC doesn't calculate ETAs very well at all. So I prefer, the only downside with the original one is you have to calculate your own V-speeds, but that's really not an issue. I have a chart saved from the manual of this aircraft that will allow me to calculate all of those. So we'll go ahead and we've done maintenance, we'll go ahead and hit load now. Oh, no fuel truck. That's in there now, load. Okay, so the plane's now being loaded, that can just sit there now. And we'll get with planning the route. First of all, We'll go up top and put this into nav, left side, right side, and the centre. So that'll just mean that the IRSs can have the longest possible time to align. Now, the GPS in this plane bugs out unless you tell it the exact location, which we will make sure to do. I will make sure to do that. Don't worry. And the pinning charts function, oh there you go, yeah, the charts where you pin charts wasn't working for a minute then, but don't worry, it's back. We're taking the Clacton 1 Echo departure today. Well, apparently it's only available on request, that departure. We are using, we're using runway 22, and the winds are really more suited to 04, but in real life they're using 22. So apparently, yeah, apparently the Clacton departure we're using today is only available on request. We're going to want the Clacton 8 Romeo. Which is basically the same, actually. Is it not? Yeah, it's basically the same. So we're going to be taking the Clacton 8 Romeo, even though we've initially picked the 1 Echo. That's just a little sim brief bug, I suppose. We're here on the ground at stand number 4. So the coordinates here are north 51, 53.2, oh, 0.2, and then east 0, 0, 0, 15.1. So go ahead and put that in there, and that will start initiating that. Head to the route, we're in EGSS, and we're going down to EBLG for Liege. And departing, we are departing off, oh, wrong, departure, we're departing off runway 22 on the Clacton 8 Romeo. And go to route, and then from Clacton, it is L608 to to Sasky. And then from Sasky it is L179er, and we're taking that to Nick. I think the actual name of the name of the VOR is Nicky. So N-I-K. There we go. Put that in there, activate, execute, and the arrival then into Liege is going to be, for certain, it's going to be the Nick 6 X-ray. I will just check that's the one that we want, because there's a 6 X-ray and there's the 6 Delta. One is for nighttime use, one is for daytime use. It's the 6 X-ray that's for daytime use, so we'll use that one. And we're going to be doing, at the moment, an ILS-22 left. It doesn't actually matter which runway we use down in Liege, though, as both of them are, they're both accessible from the same star, basically. We're going to be doing a fly over Liege Airport, and then we're going to do a kind of, like, a little loop pattern before landing. That's the plan for today. So, looking at it, I don't know what transition it'll be, whether it's the Liege 1 or the Liege 2, because there's only one on Navigraph. This always annoys me, actually. This happens quite a bit. It only shows one transition. I will pick whichever one Navigraph has got in its system. Oh, that's not very useful. It doesn't give exact waypoint labels. We'll do the Liege 1, and then we'll have a look at it, see if it's okay. Looks like everything's been loaded on board as well. That's cool. Can I not hide that yoke? No? Okay, we'll just do that. Cool. And we're going to go ahead and start prepping the plane now, do our flows. So, the oil dampers can come on. Oh, and make sure we're a bit lower down. Can't really see much here. I would like to actually zoom out a bit, but doesn't seem like that's an option. Never mind. So, we'll get our engine continuous things on. Oh, there. And we want, it's a bit weird with this shaking, isn't it? Utility buses can come on. Hydraulic pumps we will leave off for now. Actually, we'll put we'll leave them off for now. We'll turn them on at engine. Actually, we'll just put them on now, why not? Sometimes you could wait till engine start, but we'll put them on now. Fuel pumps, we'll leave them. Position lights can come on. Make sure this is in auto 1, and we'll put it to our altitude here in Stansted, about 200 feet, I think. Well, that's why we'll just put it as a baseline for later. And emergency lights can become armed. Engine R limiters can turn on. Well, make sure they're not setting up. And all these are off. This is all good for now. And I like to put these on USB. I don't think it really matters. Window heat so they can come on. And seatbelt signs. No smoking signs. Again, we're in a cargo aircraft, so I'm really not sure how much that actually does anything. Packs, unlike the 7.6, can be put into auto. They don't just turn on in auto mode, so you can put them in auto. In the 7.6, you have to turn them off for engine start, but they can be in auto mode on this aircraft, and the engines still start fine. And then trim air and reset fans, and all the heats are in auto, and the rest of it is all going to be left for now. So there we go. That is it already. We just need to, what we're going to do now is put this over to heading mode. I discovered that's how you discover how long is left on the IRS. We've got 4 minutes until it aligns, which will give me time to work out our V speeds, which I have, I believe, I thought anyway, I thought I'd made a shortcut to them on my desktop, but I can't actually find them. So maybe I didn't do a shortcut to them. I will just check. That's a weird one. If I made one in, I'm looking now in my documents folder. I must have put them somewhere. Surely. However, I do not see anything unless I'm... There, no, that's not it. Where is it? That's a weird one. I might have put it in my download archive. I'll just check. There we go. That's what I did. I put it in my download archive area. So we are the 757, and the weights are in pounds on this chart. It was taken from the manual. This is it here. It's taken from the manual. So that's why. And we are in the 757, and our takeoff weight is 97.7. So 97,700 kilos to pounds. We're looking at £215,000 as our takeoff weight. We're going to do the flaps 5 departure. The altitude is quite low and it's quite cold, so we're in band A for our speeds today. Flaps 5 with 220,000 weight is what we'll use. So we'll be doing so V1. So this is with flaps 5, which should be fine. So we'll wait first. So zero fuel weight is in. Reserves are just going to be 2. Cost index is 35. Cruising state at 230, so quite low down. 230. And 235 at 027 are the winds. ISO deviation is -8. Quite cold. Up there, -8. Put that in there. That's all good for now. Now take off. I'm doing a D-rate 40 degrees, flex 40 degrees, and it is going to be, because it's quite a long runway here in Stansted, isn't it? I will just bring up the actual airport chart. It's a 10,000 foot runway, so that's good for a little bit of a D rate. And V1 is going to be 144, VR 149, and V2 is going to be 155, according to those charts there. So that's great. I'll cross that off now because it does all the other stuff automatically. Cool. Yeah, so that's in the FCOM manual of this aircraft, by the way, if anyone wants to find that. It's quite useful. And we're basically all ready now. So what we want to do, I'll put this into RTO, the auto brakes. We have 2 minutes until these align. So what we're going to do, we're going to put the forward left fuel pump on and turn on the APU. And going to plug-ins, better push back. Actually, I'm not going to do that because they'll get rid of they might disconnect my GPU, which we don't want. And there's currently another plane on the ground here as well in Stansted, so I don't know what they're planning on doing. 122.8 go over to now, which is Unicom. Put the tilt as +2 and weather and turbulence. That's all set up now. Make sure we're squawking 2000, which we are, and we're on Unicom, and we'll go ahead and get the radio activated. Just check that X-Pilot can hear me, which it can. Now at the moment, my disable realistic audio effects is not ticked, but I might have to tick that depending on how the loudness is later on. So this can go on the legs page, that's on the progress page, we're just waiting now basically. You can go ahead and go to plugins now and better pushback and start pushback.
Ground to cockpit, please show me where you want to go.
Quite a long pushback here.
Ground to cockpit, tow is driving up.
Right, just grab the weather here for Stansted. It is currently broken at 300 feet, so it's quite foggy, quite low. QNH is 1016. So 3001 is what we use to make sure we set them the same on both sides. And I've set the wrong one down here. I like to keep this one on standard. That's the backup one. This is the one I set to naturally the other one. That means we're currently at about 350 feet, so I'll just change that to make sure it knows that. Cool, everything should be pretty much ready now, so we're going to go ahead and go to operations, get rid of all of this stuff here. Chocks can come up, so parking brake's on, chocks off. Is the APU fired up now? Yes it is. So APU bleed can come on, APU gen can come on, external power can come off.
All doors and hatches are closed, ready to connect.
Get rid of the GPU, and then isolation valve, and then APU bleed, and you can see that all fires up the packs, which you can start with the packs on in this aircraft, unlike the 7.6. Close all our doors, and then we'll just announce. Obviously, we still got to wait a bit actually for our IRSs to align. They're almost finished. There you go. In fact, they have just finished. And then we'll have a quick look at our routing today, make sure we are reaching cruise altitude, which we go into. And then we'll just do a quick run over of the route today. So, those packs are loud, aren't they? Right, so off we go then, now on the route, look.
So connected and bypass pin inserted. Release parking brake.
Right, we're just going to wait to release parking brakes. I'm just going to wait, quickly making sure that all the range rings are turned on. There they are, so that must be because I'm in plan mode, that's why. So, anyway, let's run through the route then. So, nice simple route departure out of here. And then you can see we head to the Liege VOR. And then onto the ILS. You can see it's like a little turn. This plane doesn't seem to be able to cope with that very well, does it? It's because it actually... Oh, it's because it overlaps with our go-around path. That's why it looks a bit strange. It's okay. And route length 240 miles. That's roughly what I'd be expecting. And we've got to stay at 6,000 until Clacton on this departure, which is roughly 37 miles. So initial climb is going to be 6,000. Flight directors, left side, right side, arm the auto throttles, LNAV, VNAV, and we'll set runway heading once we're already pushing. Stansted traffic, Skyway 7008. Push and start stand 4, then we'll taxi runway 22, Stansted traffic. Right, parking brakes released.
Starting pushback, and you may start
Turn
engines.
on the TCAS so that people around the airport can see us pushing. And we want to go that engine into ground mode, and it'll start starting up. These packs are really loud. Hopefully that should quieten down, I think, once we start the engines and all that. Right, N2, we'll introduce fuel on the right side. Okay, that's interesting. I was just thinking then, hang a minute, can we not start the engine with packs in this aircraft? No? Oh, hang a minute, it's because I haven't turned the fuel pumps on. RIP. Oh, I put it in rich rather than run. It has 2 settings on this aircraft. I don't think the other one has that. You can see the engines have overheated a little bit. That always happens on engine startup in this aircraft. I don't really know why, or whether it's supposed to happen, but it does. But you can see that it's coming down now, so we're okay. So it wasn't to do with the packs, it was to do with something else. And you can see now the engine is starting up nicely. There we go, pushing back. There's the Lufthansa look, so it's also pushing back. It's heading down to Lyon. Again, I don't know what runway they're using, but we'll see. Runway heading is 222, so we're going to go ahead and set that now. And yeah, initial climb I believe is going to be... Actually, initial climb is 4,000, so we'll go ahead and set that. Oh, a minute. Whoa! I thought better pushback was messing that up then. Right, we're going to turn the other engine on now.
Operation complete. Set parking brake.
Parking brakes are set.
Disconnecting tows. Stand by.
There we go, run that engine. See, that one hasn't overheated, look. It's a bit of a weird one. Sometimes they do it, sometimes they don't. Doesn't really matter, either way. Right, everything's looking all good then. We're just going to go ahead and... Yeah, these packs are way too loud. What's the sound on outside? Aircraft interior. Turn it down a bit. Obviously being told IRS nav only, that's fine. Right, cool. So we just need to make sure now the engines are in auto. That's auto mode, so we don't need to put it into continuous. Left and right engine gens can come on, so the APU can come off. And we'll get the engine bleeds
So is
on,
disconnected and
APU
bypass
bleed
pin
off.
has been removed. Hand signal on the left. We'll see you next time and have a safe flight.
See, the aircraft's still being heated up. That's why we're still making quite a bit of sound back there. Right engine fuel valve. Wait, if I accidentally knocked something, what does it mean? Right engine fuel valve. I must have just knocked something with my mouse. Although it seems okay. It's not transferring fuel between any of them. That's a weird one. Right engine fuel valve. Is that an error that I'm getting? Let's go. Let's have a look at failures. Right engine start valve is malfunctioning. Is that an issue? I don't know. Our engine's already started, so I don't know why that's an issue. We did do maintenance before starting. Maybe that's because it's overheated, didn't it? It got very hot on engine start for some reason today. Oh well, we will just ignore that. I don't think it's going to cause us any issues. We'll keep an eye on it as we go, obviously. APU gen can come off now. Okay, the Lufthansa has decided that they want to go ahead of us. I have no idea what runway they're using. He hasn't reported on Unicom anything. So hopefully our engine's okay. That's a bit of a weird one, but it should be alright. Right, let's get going then. And both engines are... Okay, he's using Stansted traffic, Skyway 7008, taxi runway 22. Runway 22 is in use at Stansted according to Flight Radar 24. Let me get... Okay, obviously that guy's not tuned to Unicom or doesn't get a voice. I will just check Stansted. The last plane that touched down there touched down 0 minutes ago. That's handy. And it used... Yep, it used runway... Okay, actually, they've swapped. Okay. Stansted traffic, Skyway 7008, switching to runway 04. Just checked, Flight Radar again. Runway 04 in use. Okay, that's a weird one. Yeah, literally, in the space of 20 minutes, they've swapped to runway 04. So we're going to go to 04, and it'll be the Clacton 4 Sierra. It doesn't really change anything about our route. Doesn't really make it any shorter or longer. But just an interesting one, I guess. Initial climb is still 4,000 feet, and the distance to Clacton is actually 35 miles rather than 37, so it doesn't really shorten our flight at all. Yeah, that was a weird one. I literally just checked. So that Lufthansa, I'm going to put it in... put it in there. Hopefully it hasn't deleted my takeoff speeds. It hasn't. Good. I mean, it probably should have actually, but it didn't. But they will be the same anyway. It's good to check though, obviously. Now the engine seems to be okay, so hopefully that the thing is, that issue is going to be there the entire time, even though technically the engines aren't being started anymore. I think what it is, it's to do with the fact that I put it in rich mode rather than run, and that overheated it a bit because I accidentally only clicked it once rather than twice, or maybe my mouse misclicked or something. Right, beacon lights can come on. And then hopefully the pack should quieten down once it gets to about 18 to 20 degrees back there. I don't actually know what kind of cargo we're carrying, so therefore I don't know what temperature really we're to aim for. Doesn't really matter, but just something a bit nice to kind of watch out for. And see, our flight distance is now like 4 miles shorter. It really didn't make much difference at all. It's kind of interesting, just something a little bit different. The Lufthansa head has been taxiing at light speed, it seems, because it's already reached the runway. Yeah, also we're going to need to make a right onto Hotel, because that's the only taxiway that goes all the way to the runway. The one we're on right now, which is Juliet, it actually ends before we get to the runway, so we're going to make a right turn up here. We can see we're very heavy, because I'm needing to use quite a bit of power here. And then we'll be straight up into the clouds then, basically straight after departure. Here at Stansted. No ATC at the moment. Euro Amsterdam radar's online, but I don't think we're passing through their airspace. I will check once we're airborne, but I don't think we are. Wait, that's weird. When I press the brakes, the camera goes all weird. Look at that. That's weird. Yeah, the camera's bugging out today. I don't know what's going on. I haven't installed anything. I know I said I was going to install that landing rate plugin, but it requires X-Plane Fly with Lua, and I'd rather not have that installed. I don't know, it's just something extra to install and stuff. We're gonna just go with the we're gonna just stick with the default, well, not default, the one from my overlay, which I'm not certain is accurate, because of that lovely landing in the Embraer that I did watch back was nowhere near minus 300, but it seemed to think it was minus 300. And then yeah, the right engine start valve. So I don't. Maybe if we wanted to start the engine again, it would cause issues, but it shouldn't. It should be okay to take off with. I'm pretty sure it's because I overheated the engine slightly. I will actually just look it up now. Okay, apparently it is a maintenance thing. People are saying that they hit maintenance and that solves it, but obviously we did maintenance before we started the flight, so I think maybe it's something to do with how you start the engines. I'm not sure. Right, the Lufthansa's departed. We're gonna obviously give it about 2 minutes or so. So we're gonna start chrono. Actually, no, yeah, start chrono. We'll give it about 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes, and then we'll depart. It's using a different departure to us though, so it will get out of our way quite quickly. Right, landing lights can come on, and we'll try and get the runway turn-offs on. There you go, that's pretty good actually. Pretty successful. Usually it's quite difficult to turn them on. We're going to depart from Kilo here, because that... Whoa, man, what is going on with my camera? Look at that, my camera's being really strange today. I hope it's the weather on the ground here in, like, Stansted or something. I don't want that happening permanently. I haven't changed a single setting, by the way. Haven't even been on X-Plane since I last streamed it on this computer. I haven't started it, so I don't know what's caused the problem. Right, rolling up to the runway then. He's had 1 minute, that Lufthansa, so we'll give him 2 minutes. And we're heading down to Liege, and there's no plane currently due there, so no problem. And we'll just grab the weather for there once again. It's now 340 at 3 knots, which is pretty good for runway 22. It's pretty much in the middle of the 2 runways, really. And we'll go ahead. Whoa, what is going on with that camera? Look at that. That's really weird. I don't know. I've never had that before, ever. I have no idea what's going on with it. I apologise. It's a weird one. Right, he's had 1.5 minutes. Yeah, hopefully the camera sorts itself out once we're in the air. It seems to be only the braking that causes that weirdness. Right, just set flaps 5 because we haven't done that, and we will stop chrono, reset it, and we will, right, once the flaps are set to 5 degrees, Stansted traffic, Skyway 7008, taking off runway 04, Clacton, 4 Sierra departure, Stansted traffic. Alright, flaps 5 is set, Start the clock. Parking brakes off, and engine set 40%. And engine power set. Away we go then. So there's 5 people watching right now, that's nice. Hope everyone watching is enjoying the stream. Anyway, away we go then. Out of London Stansted. 80 knots. We're good, looking good. Engine power's set good. Speed's increasing. Obviously, it's slightly high V1 today, because we're a bit heavy. V1, or rotate. But I didn't actually get given a trim value, so I didn't set that, never mind. Right. Positive rate. Gear up. And there we are, into the clouds, instantly. Very thick cloud here in Stansted this morning. So straight into that, straight after departure. Right, there we are then, making the right turn then on the Clacton 4 Sierra towards DME 14. What do you mean bank angle? I'm not banking that much. Right, up we go then. Good, we'll just level off a little bit. Runway turn-offs can come off. Bit bumpy here in the clouds, it's okay. We'll go flaps 1. And that's going to let the speed increase. We've got no speed restrictions on today's departure, so that'll be good. And we'll go flaps full. No, flaps fully up. And there we are. So we're nice on the departure. I'm going to go ahead and put in the autopilot because we have a altitude restriction at just 4,000 feet, which will not take us very long to get to at all. I'm positive there was a way to hide this yoke. I thought it was the Y key, but it obviously isn't. Or at least a button somewhere. Doesn't matter. I just thought there was a button for it. You can see, look at that. Can't see a thing. Very thick cloud here. And we're only allowed up to 3,000 for now until Clacton 2-1. And then we can climb a little bit further then. I think we are starting to break out the cloud though, because the FPS is dropping, which means, you know, when you're in the cloud, the FPS is great, but when you're looking directly above it or directly below it, that's when the FPS is at its worst. It's like that in basically all flight sims for some reason. You can see, there you go, you can just see the tops of the clouds we're breaking through. We will be allowed up further soon. We're going to set 5,000, and I don't think this thing will climb immediately. I will test that now. Will it climb immediately, or will it stick to the restrictions? Okay, it will stick to restrictions, so that means I'm going to go right up to 230 on it, and then this thing will just follow the restrictions nicely by itself, which is cool. So we're up to 4,000, and then we're up to 5,000, and we're there for a very short period of time, and then up to 6,000, and then we'll have to hold there until Clacton. So there we are, in the air nicely, out of Stansted. Pretty good departure there. Obviously, and then only up to 230 today. Obviously, we're quite heavy anyway, but there you go. Breaking out the clouds now, you can see. It's not so cloudy in other areas, it seems, than Stansted. It's actually quite clear over here. Weather down in Liege is actually quite nice. We've got a few clouds at 1,300, but other than that, nothing. Obviously, just checking my mic is working okay. And there we are, and my overlay, how's that doing? Cool, it's working as well, excellent. So, just about to pass the point where we're allowed to go up to 5,000. Transition altitude here in Stansted is 6,000, so that's when we'll set standard pressure. And you can see, I will just check that the fuel is coming out of both engines, it is, and both engines looking good, so obviously that right engine start valve issue isn't going to cause us any bother. Hopefully, it seems like the aircraft is okay. So we're going to do a quick climb up to 5,000 now, and then we'll just hold there for a tiny bit. Only for about 4 miles we're holding at 5,000. And then it'll be straight up to 6,000, where we'll have to hold for another little bit of time. And you can see the plane is following all its restrictions nicely on its own, which is what we want to see, obviously. And then we'll be at 5,000 for the next mile and a half, then we'll be up to 6,000 where we'll have to stay until Clacton. Just go ahead and put this up to 80 nautical mile range so we can see a bit more of our route up there. And you can see we've got just 217 miles to Liege. It won't be a very long stream, this, really. It's quite a short flight. Again, I was planning to go from Copenhagen to Stansted, but because I literally never fly in and out of Copenhagen, and as soon as I plan to do it, the route gets deleted with this plane. It's like, great. Because today's the 1st of May, so it's like the first day that that route is no longer a route. It's crazy. Right, up to 6,000 feet then. And we'll go ahead and set standard pressure. And there we are, we're just stuck here now for about 15 or so miles, 13 miles there. And then we're finally we'll be allowed to climb up further. Obviously the clouds are mostly gone now, actually. It's quite clear, which is pretty crazy. I'm just getting all the charts ready for Liege. The airport down there does actually have 2 runways, but only really 2 left, 4 right is big. Just going to have a quick look at where we're going to park today, because I'm not totally sure where we're planning on parking. No parking stands have been given, so we'll just go wherever the cargo apron is, which I'm not totally sure. You've got, there's quite a few different things, and they're not marked on here. I think parking stands, Papa 1 and Papa 2, I think they are, I think they're the aprons for, right, let's have a quick look. Is there any kind of parking information? No. So I don't know where we're planning on parking. I think, though, apron Papa 1 and Papa 2 are for passengers. Papa 3 looks like general aviation, because there's a lot of stands very clumped in. And then we've got apron Papa North, which is apron North is probably what we're going to take, I think. That looks like the cargo. So we're going to take apron North, which will leave us, yeah, we're going to take apron North for arrival, I think. Which will leave us, we'll have to vacate off 22 left to right and then cross the other runway, but that runway is probably closed, or not. It's not used certainly that often, because I think it's only really an airport that needs 1 runway, and the other runway is only like 8,000 feet, so it's a bit shorter. And then we'll just do a quick check to make sure they're still using the runway that we want. Apparently no aircraft found on the ground in Liege. Is it Liege? I have no idea how you pronounce it exactly. I'm probably saying it wrong, but oh well. When was the last departure? It seems that they had a bit of rush of arrivals in the morning, and then it was just empty. The last thing that departed was at 8:30, which was 2 hours ago, and the last thing that landed was about, well, it was the last thing I looked at, which was quite a while ago. So it doesn't seem, I mean, it doesn't really matter what runway we use. We're just going to stick with 22, because nobody on the Vatsim network is heading there. The winds are variable at 2 knots anyway, and they're scattered at 1,700 the clouds, so it's pretty clear, pretty nice day really. Better than Stansted, that's for certain. If we were approaching Stansted, that would have been a pretty interesting arrival, because we could have done this flight the other way round. Right, in terms of arrival, we're going to do a flaps 25 in this aircraft, is what I usually like to use, because I find the speed for flaps 30 can get a little bit low, even when the aircraft is quite heavy. Right, up we climb then, passing at 7,000 feet now, so finally we'll be able to speed up once we pass 10,000. And then we'll, I don't know how long we'll be at cruise, I don't imagine too long, 230 is the maximum we could have gone to today because that's the restrictions of the airways that we're on. In fact, weirdly, the restrictions of the airways according to Navigraph are actually 20,000. That's Lima 179er. So as soon as we pass Saski, we're supposed to be at 19200, but SimBrief obviously doesn't follow that. It doesn't really matter. I think in fact it's the Eurocontrol route that we're using today. I'm not sure. It's the one that comes up top on SimBrief though. The route we're using today. Quite a nice basic route. I am at the moment. I'm liking the shorter flights. You know, I had a time not so long ago where I was doing lots of longer flights. You know, 2, 3, 4 hours. But recently I have started to like the sort of 1 hour. This one is supposed to be about a 55 minute flight. Right, passing 10,000. Landing lights can come off. And I suppose we can... You know, I'd have a guess that we can turn off the seatbelt signs, but again, I have no idea what that actually does. Remember, we're flying cargo. Just saying. I don't know. Maybe they just do it to make sure that the cargo and the passenger layout are the same, and the you know, the freight version is just left there. We're just gonna. Actually, I'll wait to do all the arrival stuff. I'll wait until we're at cruise. See, there's the speed going up. Look. I don't know what our cruise speed is today. Mach decimal 68. So obviously quite a bit slower because we're at flight level 230 today. And then this plane will do pretty much like a rocket climb then for a little bit. Let's go outside. I've already forgotten some of the camera controls because I did one flight in FSX this week because Pro ATC X had an update and there's a couple of quite nice new features in it and I was trying them out. So but yeah, literally pretty crazy that. Now I will just quickly check if we're passing through Amsterdam's airspace, and we are, but very, very briefly. Literally just between Blixie and Kegit, we're in their airspace. So we're not in it for very long. Probably like, I don't know, 80 miles tops. Actually, where is Blixie? That's the waypoint that it said. Oh no, Summum. So literally between Summum and Kegit, which is about 40 miles. So we're not in their airspace for very long, so I don't imagine they'll contact us. So we'll see if they give us a contact me, but I don't think they will. It would be nice if we could have a bit of ATC though, wouldn't it? But as I said, it really doesn't matter that much. Anyway, we'll just see. So at the moment, climbing, the camera's still shaking a little bit as well. I don't know what's causing that. I really don't. Yeah, look, I'm not touching anything right now, and you can see the camera is shaking a little bit, and it doesn't usually do that. So I don't know why that is. X-Plane has not had an update, and I haven't done anything to the settings. So if anyone knows what's causing that, please let me know. Because I'd like to know. It would be useful. Because it is actually quite annoying. Never ever had it before. Alright, passing flight level 180 now. So not too far until the cruise, and then we'll be there for a little bit. Also, guys, I want to say thank you as well. There's been quite a few people watching the stream throughout today, but not only that as well. We're also up to 153 subs. I think it was to do with YouTube's. YouTube had a analytics bug the last kind of basically 2 or 3 weeks, and it was causing channels to either lose subs a little bit or their subs to stay the same. And now they've fixed it, because I noticed we were slowly dropping. We're on about 151, and we slowly dropped to about 149. But we're up to 153 now, so that's nice. As always, if you do enjoy the content, be sure to like and subscribe. It just helps me out. I'd love it if my channel was to be picked up by the YouTube algorithm. There's some channels lately that have rocketed like thousands and thousands in a period of days because the YouTube algorithm has gone, hey, I like the work you put out and I'm going to recommend it to everyone. I mean, that probably won't happen because I do flight simulation and stuff, but it'd be interesting, wouldn't it? It's crazy. The YouTube algorithm works like that. You can see we're climbing up now to flight level 230. We're basically at now. I wonder if we've got a contrail. I don't think we will have a contrail at this altitude, but we might. No, not yet. So we probably won't at cruise. That's how you know you're cruising quite low, is when you don't have a contrail. And you can see our top of descent is quite soon, so highlighting how short this flight is, really. I mean, we would have had longer to cruise if it wasn't for the restrictions on the arrival. No, not the arrival, the departure. Obviously. But it is also just generally quite a short flight. Haven't really done a flight this short in the 7.5 before, so kind of something a bit new, I guess. And there we are, flight level 230, levelling off, and we'll go ahead and start to plan our arrival now right away. So airport elevation is 651 feet, so 650 set in there, and it's going to be, the ILS is 10935, which we can't set just yet, but we can set the course. Actually, you know what, we'll just set it, yeah, I'm not going to set it yet, we'll leave it. Minimums we'll have to do in decision height, which is 200, so that means it's already set down there. It's pretty much always 200, but yeah, we're going to wait to set the ILS because you can't set a standby frequency in this aircraft, and I don't want it picking up the ILS just yet. We want to wait just a little bit, and then we'll just do a quick run through of our plan for the arrival. You can see they're heading into the Liege VOR, and then out to LGE, and then we're basically doing a looped kind of turn onto the ILS. Now I'm just going to do a quick check to see if the Liege 2 transition is better. I'm interested. Is it a better transition or no? I think the Liege 1 is better. It looks like a slightly better turn. Also, I think this has forgotten to put my, yeah, it forgot to put my start in. And I even put the wrong one in. What's wrong with me? ILS 22 left, Liege 1, Nick 6 X-ray. There, cool. Messed that up there briefly. Right, cool. We're all good now. So you can see there, yeah, that's definitely a better one. Hopefully the plane, I might end up vectoring myself, to be honest, because I have a feeling that the I have a feeling it'll be slightly off the turn. I don't know. We're meant to start the turn at roughly 9 miles. We're meant to. It's DME 8.5 from Liege LGE. So I think we'll do it off that. We'll do it off that. So what we're going to do is we're going to go up here and we're going to set the Liege VOR in here, which is a frequency of 11545, and then that will pick up the Liege VOR. And then what we're going to do is, well, we'll get this back on this mode here, and then there should be a little button I can hit somewhere that will pop this up on this screen, although maybe it's not quite yeah, it's not picking it up yet, that's why. So it's not yet picking it up. Once it does pick it up, we should be good. And then I'm going to put this one into auto mode. Wait, does this one not have auto mode? Oh well. You know what, I'll put this one in auto then, and I'll tune this one to the Liege VOR then. Weirdly, this one seems to have been able to pick it up. 110 miles away, which should be correct. Yep, that's the same as what my overlay is saying. Because that's direct to the airport. And auto brakes are going to be... Auto brakes... I'm thinking 2. It's a 12,000 foot runway. So 2. It is. And there we are. We're good. We're going to set our altitude for descent now, which is going to be 3,000 feet. And then we'll set runway heading for Liege then, which is 223. And there you go, everything's all good. We haven't synchronised the heading on this flight. It doesn't really matter, there's no ATC. We want to keep it ready for the arrival. So cool. So what we're going to do is keep an eye on that DME there. So when we are when we're doing our arrival, we're going to basically make a right turn. So actually, we want to set this heading to 026. I think we're going to do the arrival manually, because looking what the aircraft has planned doesn't really make much sense. Right, the start, I said, pretty soon then, in 14 miles, and then we should be on the ground in about 20 minutes, which should be pretty good. So a bit of a shorter flight today. Nothing else is heading into the airport today, so we have the aircraft, we have the airport to ourselves, so no problem. And we have actually got maximum 250 knots at Nikki, is that true? That's what this is saying, which is a bit weird. I don't know why. I think I'm going to stick to what the planers planned of it being at Geelong, the restriction. It makes more sense. I'm not going to slow down the flight just for that. Make sure the weather radar is actually set to 0. I didn't do that. I don't want it set to -2 at this altitude, though. It's 0 at this altitude. That's a good thing. Right, now time to start our descent then, pretty much. No need to announce on the Unicom, as there's nothing in the area, so no problem there. So down we go. This plane's going to slow down a tiny bit before commencing its descent, and then it will actually descend there, look. There's the slowdown actually there. And then we're going to start our descent then. Down to Liege. After not very long at all. We're descending 108 miles from the airport. And then, yeah, I think we're going to vector ourselves in, to be honest, on this arrival. I'll do it now. How many? What I can actually do, I can probably go from Geelong direct to the ILS. So I might do that to save us having to do the weird kind of move about the place. Does that look okay? That looks better. That's going to create a bit of a better... What I'm actually going to do, I'm just going to skip out one waypoint. And that's going to create quite a nice kind of path onto the ILS, look. Like that, look. I like the look of that. So that's what we'll do, basically skip out a little bit at the start, because in real life you'll be given vectors, and obviously it helps ensure that we are... because I didn't think we'd get that turn done, which is why I was thinking we'd set it automatically. No, set it manually, I mean, so it makes life a bit better, obviously. In real life, it is one thing I'd like. You know, with the Vatsim network, it's a bit of a shame, nothing you can do about it, but in real life, you'd basically always be given vectors when you have an approach like this, because obviously you always want to save fuel, because it costs less, and it's just generally better to save fuel. But obviously you can't always do that in the sim, because there's not always controllers online, but you can manage it yourself, which is what I like to do quite often, because an approach like this, especially for a big 757 that's quite heavily loaded, those turns can be quite difficult sometimes, so it's just good to get it set up correctly. And we'll still shoot in the Liege VOR, so we can get a good idea of where we are in terms of where the airport is. And I'm just going to quickly check what the transition altitude is. 4,500. So, and you can see the aircraft's already set that. That's the transition altitude, but which will be slightly different to the level. But since we don't have ATC or an ATIS online, we wouldn't know that ever. And then yeah, we're basically going to head to Guillaume. You know what? I could actually just cut it all out. Thinking about it, I could actually cut out Guillaume as well. There's no need to go to Guillaume as well. Really, that just wastes. We're basically taking right turn just to go left again, which is pretty pointless. Because we're all about saving fuel. Oh my flaps! Honestly, the button that I think the axes on my throttle quadrant. If you guys know the Satec throttle quadrant, it's the blue axis, the middle one. I think mine's bugging out. It keeps like triggering a little bit when I move it slightly without properly moving it. I don't know whether it's X-plane or whether it's the axis doing that, but it's not good. But yeah, we're going to take basically a shortcut. No, basically as if we're taking no star, to be honest. I don't even know. Maybe I should have done that all along. Just planned no star at all and just gone directly into the airport. Maybe that's what I should have done. Never mind. Because there's no ATC, remember, so... Right. Seatbelt signs can come on. Well, what we actually do in the first place is a mystery to me. And you can see our landing speed is set in there. It's going to be flaps 25 and 138 knots, which I'm good with. And we'll track the speed brakes, and the plane can start easing off now. And we're in quite a gentle descent now, basically, just 70 miles away from the airport. Looks like this will be a bit quicker than 51 minutes. Obviously, we did shorten the flight slightly on the departure, and then again on the arrival. Although the shortening on the departure had nothing to do with me, that was just the runway being changed. Weather is still very calm where we're going, so pretty nice. And suddenly, for some reason, this plane started doing a really steep dive of a descent there. I don't know why. That's weird. I don't know. Okay. I'm a bit confused by that. Our plane just suddenly decided to start doing a dive. A little bit there, which it didn't need to do. Just thought, you know what, it'll be a good idea if we do that now. Who knows, right? Also, guys, I know there's been a bit of a lack of iRacing content lately. It's because this week I've been busy prepping for the FTR events. 500 miles at Road Atlanta, so I do think I will. I'm going to. I might end up doing a race at Road America. I really like Road America in GT3, so I wanted to do a race. It's just that I was busy with other things. But maybe on the Sunday or the Monday I can get a video for you guys, see what's happening. Right. Okay, cool. It's nice doing a flight this length, actually. It's quite cool. I enjoy it. It's nice. Right. See, getting a lot closer to the airport now. We're only half hour into the flight. It's going to be quite a short stream, this one, but again, just because I was going to do a flight from Copenhagen to Stansted, and then that flight got deleted. So I thought, well, what else shall we do? And this just popped into my head. So I was quite surprised, really, because Liege changed all of the cargo routes, but they never said. Like, usually they put up a little notice saying, look, we're going to change. They put it on their forum, but they haven't put it anywhere else. So they posted it on their forums, but nowhere else. Right, 10,000 feet then. Landing lights on. So the plane's going to start slowing down now, and hopefully on its own it should be able to cope, although saying that we've just passed below 10,000 feet and it hadn't slowed down enough. So we'll just start doing that. And we'll just be quite gentle with it. Anyway, past 250 knots. There we go. Cool. Alright, 9,000 feet, you can see there we are, below 250 knots at last. Took us a bit of time to get there. And no ATC, no planes in or out of the airport Liege today with us. So, I'm going to go ahead and set the ILS to active, 10935. 10935 and 223. Excellent. Now the weather is QNH 1014, scattered 1,800 feet, variable at 4 knots. So pretty calm weather. Not much going on, which is nice. Gonna go ahead and, actually I won't quite start to slow the plane down yet, I will do it sooner or later. And what I'm gonna do, I'm actually gonna take, now I've already got the heading of the airport put in, I'm gonna go ahead and start doing vectors now. Well, we'll start it soon anyway, because I want to get a bit of a better intercept angle onto that ILS, which we haven't got at the moment. So, and then we need to be at 2,500 feet for CF22 left, to make sure that we're good to intercept the glide slope at FF22 left. Actually, it's 2,500 or above, so we'll keep that. You can see it's a little bit cloudy, which is not. We are still a little bit far away from the airport, I guess, so some bits of the weather may not be totally accurate yet. And then remember, transition altitude is 4,500 feet. You can see the camera is still shaking a little bit at times. Hopefully it doesn't do it with the brakes when we land, because that's going to look ridiculous. The camera will probably be shaking a lot on landing if that is the case, so I apologise in advance if that is what happens. I hope it isn't. Right, I'm going to start slowing the plane down now, just a touch. I believe we can actually go as far as flaps, only flaps 1 below 240 knots, so we can go flaps 1 if we need to slow the plane down. So coming through the clouds now. Won't be able to see the runway just yet. We're still from Liege Airport itself. We're about 22 DME. That's it there. Look, you can see we plugged it in earlier on. Remember, and we'll put in the course of the runway, I suppose. Doesn't really matter what course we put in. Anyway. And then we'll keep an eye on, so what's the intercept looking like? You can see it's going to be a bit of a sharp right turn. So I think we will put it in heading select mode. And we will keep an eye on that. You know, we'll tell our QNH now, because remember 4,500 is actually the altitude, transition altitude. Normally you add roughly 1,000 to 2,000 feet to that to get the transition level. It's all based on which airfield you're at and the actual QNH, but that's always controlled by a controller and is usually put on the ATIS. However, there's no controller, so no ATIS, so no transition level. Right, we're going to set the heading to about 105 now, just so we can get a bit of a wider turn onto the ILS. So that's what I want. Down to 220 knots. Now we're going to go ahead and go flaps 1. That will allow us to slow down a little bit, and we can arm the speed brakes then ready for landing as well. So use the flaps to slow down rather than the speed brakes. What do you mean overspeed? I only set flaps 1. Oh. Okay, yeah, I'm positive. I think that that axis is start. Wait, how is that going up to 0? I think my axis is bugged out a little bit, to be honest. That is set to 1 now, right? Yeah, I think that blue axis, the middle axis on my. I accidentally just knocked the auto brakes there. The middle axis on my throttle quadrant is seeming a little bit weird at the moment. Hopefully, it's okay. I've had this game for quite a while. I basically bought it pretty soon after I started doing flight simulation, so I probably had it a good 2-3 years. So I hope it doesn't start to break though. That will be quite annoying. I'm going to go vertical speed now. Do a nice manual arrival, a bit more manual than usual. And we're only 12 DME now, so we'll drop it to 210 knots. Now I have to slow a little bit more, because it's you know, unlike in the US where a lot of the ILSs have like 20 mile, they put you on like a 20 mile final. We're only going to be put on an 8.5 mile final, so maybe more like a 9 mile final. But yeah, it's not as much, so it's not as much time to slow down. Just do one last check of our arrival speeds. It's currently set to 138, which is perfect. Flaps 25 arrival, which is perfect, really. And you can see the heading we've set is a bit better now. It will allow us to have a bit of a wider turn onto the ILS. We'll just do it one more step. I'm going to go ahead and... Actually, I don't want to arm the approach. Can I see the approach without... Yeah, sort of. Obviously, it's all set in there correctly. We know that. I'm going to... Okay, I can't even arm the approach. It's not letting me yet, which is probably explainable. Oh, a bit of cloud over here, so we can't really see what we're doing then. And then, yeah, we're supposed to start the turn when we're about 9 DME away. Well, it'll be more at 10 won't it, because of where we are. But yeah, we'll just basically make a right turn to intercept the ILS perfectly. Well, hopefully perfectly. 500 feet per minute, quite a gentle descent. Down to 200 knots now. And we can go flaps 5. That'll just help the plane slow down a little bit more. And it means that we won't need to use speed brakes. And, right, we're going to make a right turn now, pretty much. Quite soon you can see there is the ILS. We've just captured it. That's the glide slope, I think. If it is, we're pretty much perfect on it. And then the localizer's obviously a bit further away. We're not at the right heading to intercept it just yet. Nothing's heading for Liege. I need to look at how you pronounce it. I'm going to search it now. How do you pronounce it? There's a lot of, like... Here you go.
Liege.
Is it? It's Liege. Liege. Is that just it? Liege. I wasn't sure if that was right. Anyway, make a right turn then to intercept the ILS. That should be a pretty perfect heading there, about 170. And that should allow us to intercept it pretty good. Down to 190 knots now. And we'll go flaps 15. And we're going to go ahead and arm the approach as well. Okay, it's not wanting to go direct in that way, I'll just do it like this. There we go, so go direct to FF22 left, and you can see that now means that this plane knows kind of what we're doing. Going to go heading of 175, actually 180, just to hit it at a slightly better angle. We can probably go 185 to be honest now. 190 even, I think. And we'll still intercept it quite well. So basically done manual vectors here, pretty good. And we should see the airport anytime now. Obviously we're going to hold here at 2,500. Go around altitude is 3,000, so that's what we'll set once we're established on the glide slope. We're on the localizer now, and we are about 8 DME from Liege, the Liege VOR. There is the airport, look. Right, 180 knots. Start to slow down. And then we'll wait for the glide slope and then we'll drop the gear. Once we're set, we should be on the glide slope in about a mile. You can see there is the glide slope coming down. And then once we intercept that, we'll start getting configured for landing. Just gradually slowing the plane. You can see, there we go. Just picked up the glide slope, so 3,000 on the altitude, 160. Actually, you know what? We can go final approach speed, 138, and then add 5 knots, 143. Drop the gear. Flaps 25 is set. And there you go, that will start to slow us down then. We're probably going slightly too quickly actually, but although we'll slow down pretty quickly. We've only got to go down actually to 140 knots, so we're actually okay. Right, autopilot disengage. And auto throttle disengage. And you can see the plane actually was pointing a bit more downwards than I thought it was. So we'll just fix that. And what we want to do as well, put the weather radar into +2 mode so we don't see basically what is terrain reflecting on the weather radar. Okay, we're back on course now. The plane was pointing a lot more downwards than I thought it was when we took it over from the autopilot. Right, we'll just make sure that flaps 25 is set. It is perfect. And we're all good. Anyway, we're looking good. Possibly slightly too high. Actually, there you go, we're pretty much perfect now. And then we're going to vacate to the right and taxi into Apron North, which I'm guessing is where the cargo is. It doesn't really say. Just what it looks like. Quite easily too high here. The plane doesn't really want to descend that much. Maybe I haven't set the trim. I don't actually have buttons maps to the trim, which maybe I should have. But it doesn't really matter. This thing has actually descended really quickly. It's struggling to keep its speed, really. We're good now, though.
Glide slow.
There you go, we're good.
Glide slow. Glide slow.
Because we're quite heavy, so...
50, 40, 30, 20.
We're quite heavy, so it's struggling to keep this thing in the air. And go, -397. Again, I'm not so sure about that. Definitely wasn't the smoothest because of... This thing is definitely too heavy. Also, why can't my wait, my camera controls are frozen. That's a weird one. Alright, 70 knots. Reverses in. They go. Okay, weirdly, when the reversers were out, I couldn't move my camera. That was weird. Right, auto brakes off, and you can see the camera is still doing that weird shaking thing. What's going on today? Yeah, look, the camera is being really strange. Right, line lights off. APU over to start. It wasn't the best of landings, so this thing, I don't know what's going on with X-Plane. That was a bit weird. And the camera, there you go, the camera's still doing that weird thing. So I hope that gets fixed. Right, we're gonna take the sharper right here, rather than the quick exit right, because I can taxi then straight into a stand on the other end. I'm guessing this is where the cargo parks, although I'm not certain. It doesn't say. Normally on the charts it says ramp cargo, and it tells you where the terminal is. It says where everything is in the airport, but the charts for Liege do not say that. They don't tell you. So, right, retract the flaps and the speed brakes. Disarm the auto brakes. Yeah, what's going on with the camera? That's really weird. It's quite annoying. But yeah, I'm guessing this is where the cargo parts. I mean, these look like cargo things. We'll just go to this stand straight ahead of us. Yeah, a bit of a weird landing, but you know, it was not too bad. We didn't blow a tyre. That's a successful landing, right? But yeah, even with full power, I was struggling to keep it in the air. Maybe we should have done a flaps 20 arrival. Because obviously this plane's quite heavy, remember, today. Right, TCAS off. Parking brake is set. APU is on. And APU gen's on. Cut left and right engines. See the plane flickering over there. Flight director's off, right side and then left side. Reset the speed on here. I just like to reset all these to when you spawn in. And beacon light off. Utility bus can come off. All the hydraulics can come off. Packs off. Fans off. Bleeds off. And then let's go ahead and get everything connected up. So airplane. I want to go to ground services first. GPU can be connected. And on external power, APU can come off. APU gen can come off. And then we'll get everything connected. I don't need a fuel truck. So everything else is good. There we go. Everything is all good. We shouldn't need parking brake now if we've got the chocks set, which I believe, yeah, we do. Cool. And that is it, I think. That's basically it. We're going to go ahead and get the engine gens off. Fuel pumps off. Seatbelts off. Temperatures can just go to off. These can come off, and we want the weather radar to be turned off as well. Cool. These can go to off as well, the engine start switches. And window heats, they can come off because it's not negative temperature outside. Off, 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 off. There we go. That's basically everything turned off now, I think. Everything all back to mostly cold and dark, just apart from basically the stuff that would make it fully cold and dark. Actually, that's kind of obvious, isn't it? Just the batteries and the external power. But there we go, you can see. Oh, did I stop the clock? I don't think I did. Nope, 49 minutes. It was about. Whoa, that's weird. Look, when you go to external model, this is that's the internal model of the cockpit. When you're in external view, that's weird. I guess it obviously does that to save FPS. If it modelled everything in an exterior view, it would lag like crazy. Just look, it looks like a Roblox cockpit, look. But there we go, that is our cargo adventure done for today. Bit of a shorter stream than usual, I know. Just a little bit of a quick flight, really. Go ahead and submit that on Fly UK and cross it off. I hope everyone enjoyed the stream. Again, bit of a short one than usual, but That doesn't really matter, we'll get all the lights turned off now. We can actually make it fully cold and dark, I think. There we go, fully cold and dark, airplane. And there we go. I hope everyone enjoyed today's stream. Again, a little bit of a shorter flight than usual, but that doesn't really matter, does it? You can see we've got all our cargo and everything unloading and loading. No need for Jar Design Ground Handling Deluxe with this aircraft. It's just good as it is. Nice livery as well. I like the Fly UK livery for cargo. It's the old livery basically. It's still the new. It's called New Union Spirit. It's still that one, but with a cargo on it. Obviously they've updated to the new Crystal livery on all their passenger aircraft. But I really like their old livery actually. And I think the 757 is a lovely aircraft. I love flying it. I don't fly it very often because I have so many other planes. I love the Embraer E115 and the A320 and the Zebo. There's plenty to choose from, isn't there? X-Plane's definitely become my new favourite sim, and I think it will be for quite some time because Microsoft Flight Sim still hasn't got its act together with what's going on there. I mean, I think the the live weather update that was supposed to come in at the end of February to fix the live weather and the ATC phraseology. Obviously, with everything being pushed back, that still isn't out yet. So, and it's basically going like that in a circle. I'm gonna have a quick look actually before we end the stream. I'll have a quick look. I can go and mute the desktop audio now actually because of don't want to listen to the X-Plane in the background. So yeah, the development update. The last one came out a few days ago, and they hopefully have released their new development roadmap, which they have. And you can see May 20th at the moment for Sim Update 4 now. The week of May 20th, so hopefully it's pretty unbelievable really, but hopefully it will, hopefully everything will, keep on going with it. But they're doing monthly updates with it. Hopefully they can stay on track with those. It would be pretty useful, wouldn't it? But yeah, Sim Update 4 is the next one coming, which will bring some live weather fixes, but it's also going to be brought in Sim Update 6 as well. It's going to bring some it's going to bring some icing effect issues, fix those hopefully. It's going to fix some of the ATC issues. I really hope that will mean that they're going to be fixing the ATC, what do you call it? I really hope they're going to fix the ATC not giving you proper headings, but maybe they're not. I don't know. Hopefully they will. That's about it, really. There's a couple of new planes coming to the game, but mostly just smaller. But yeah, at the moment, anyway, that game is nowhere. Microsoft Flight Sim. It really needs some changes, some updates. But hopefully that will come soon. I'm going to go ahead and whack it over to the end screen now. I hope everyone has enjoyed today's stream, and hope to see you in the next one. Until next time, bye! Forgot to say I'll leave you with the background music and the end screen. Why not? Bye!